What's up guys, we got a little bit of a different kind of video for you here today. So I was looking through some of my old content and realized it's been almost exactly 6 months since I first started uploading to YouTube and kind of tracking my progress. So I thought it'd be fun to kind of compare where we started from and where we are today in terms of my boss logs, my goals of getting Golden Reaper, and just my general PVM progression. If you'd like to see the original video, be sure to click the link in the description below. Be sure to like and subscribe, and let's get into it. I think a good spot to start would be our boss logs and our boss KCs. So what I'm going to do is take a little screenshot of all our KCs and logs from episode 0, put it on the side of the screen, and compare it to where we're at in the live game right now. Before we get started, I want to apologize for the poor quality of the screenshots from episode 0. I don't have the original clips, so it's a little degraded because I just took it from the YouTube video. So let's start with the top of the list, the Ambassador or ED3. So I've done one total Ambassador kill initially, and I still actually have that same KC of 1 KC with a time of 549.8. I, however, have killed the Ambassador more. I've just chucked some death touch darts at it. If you don't remember, on one of the episodes during the Raptors Rampage, I had used the entire week's buff on the Ambassador. I did get super duper lucky here, so initially I only had the one lore book as my only drop, but now I have a full ECB, a spare ECB piece. Luckily that last drop that I got was the one that duped, so I only need 2 more for a second ECB, 41 Blackstone Hearts, and an additional lore book. So all I am needing is the pet. I am going to change that KC to 100 eventually just because I do want IFB as well. Next up we have the Spider Boss and Araxor. So 6 months ago I started out with 309 kills. I am now at 352. Now I'm not going to show my log in the current state because it would have a spoiler for the next episode of From Chump to Champ. I did get a couple of drops, but fun fact, I'm actually further away from my goals right now than I was 6 months ago. And that is because if you don't remember, I did disassemble both my webs and my additional leg from rage quitting Araxor. I am back at it though, so hopefully we'll hit those goals pretty soon. Up next we got the Arch Glacier. I started the Arch Glacier 6 months ago with 663 normal mode kills, 541 hard mode kills, and a max in rage of 343. In the last 6 months, I did increase my hard mode kill count by a few more and got it up to 674. I also did unlock my first Enrage boss title with a current Enrage of 507%. We did make some progress on the log, unlocking the offhand sword and getting an additional 3 Nylas. On to looking at our ED2 log. Initially, 6 months ago, I had 19 group kills and 82 solos, and I had 3 Furies, 1 Flurry, no Barge, and I had everything else all done. I did get an additional Fury drop and an additional Barge drop, completing this log in the last 6 months within 9 kills. Luckily, both those codices also doubled, so I was able to make some cash on my main. Up next, we have the Barrows log. Now, I have not done any Barrows in the last 6 months, so I'm still at the 461 KC and 23 out of 39 on the log. As I said in episode 0 though, I do basically have to do this entire log again because before I decided I wanted to go for Golden Reaper, I did disassemble all my extra Barrow stuff, so I have a whole lot more Barrows to do. Following Barrows, we have Rise of the Six. Now, 6 months ago, I had only done 18 Rise of the Six kills, and there was just a couple of Reapers that I did with some friends. I, however, have since learned how to solo rots, which was very, very exciting for me a few months ago. Now, in the last 6 months, I changed that KC from 18 to 226 total kills, and in that time, I had gotten 3 total kite shields and 343 malevolent energy. Let's go on to raids. As I said in episode 0, I absolutely despise raids, but it is something that I still have to do. Unfortunately, I have not really focused on it too much in the last 6 months, as 6 months ago I was at 36 BM kills and 1 Yakamaru kill. As you can see, my current BM KC is only at 41, and if I pull up my Yakamaru, let me just scroll down here and find it, I'm actually only at 3. So I've only done 2 Yaka kills and 5 BM kills. The log hasn't really changed much at all, outside of getting the Acto Terralith boots. Up next we have another boss that I really have not touched. Actually, I have not touched at all. The Chaos Elemental. The Chaos Elemental, 6 months ago, I was at 85 KC and I'm still at 85 KC. If you like the log also hasn't changed since I haven't done any Revenants either. Let's move on to some more easy content in Commander Ziliana. And 6 months ago, I had 151 Commander Ziliana kill count, in which time I had gotten the hilt, a murmur, and one offhand crossbow. Now, the hilt and the murmur were all I really wanted initially, but going for Golden Reaper and also wanting a specific upgrade for my AFK Wave 4 Zuck, I changed that kill count to 933, which is what it took me in order to get the hiss, which is what I wanted for AFK Wave 4 Zuck. In that time, I had finished most of the log, still looking for a main hand crossbow and the pet. What I'm going to end up doing is finishing up that 1k KC so I can hit the next threshold and then go into hard mode and try to get that pet and knock this one out. Next up, we have another boss that I really haven't touched on a whole lot, and that is the Corporeal Beast. I started out with an initial 18 kill count with the Corporeal Beast, but I did do a little bit of Corp when I started doing my Blessed Flask grind, because for the Blessed Flask, I needed a Holy Elixir. In that time, I changed my kill count to 99, getting a Holy Elixir, and that's basically it. Up next, we have the actual worst boss in the game in Corrosis. Now, they initially started Corrosis with 252 total kill count. Some of the very few amount of that was done in group kills, and I only had 2 drops, being the legs and the boots. In the last 6 months, we've done quite a bit more Corrosis, to basically doubling that kill count to 503. And in those the last 250-ish kills, I ended up adding a top, a pair of gloves, an additional pair of boots, 2 spore sacks, and 3 scriptures. Next up, we have a log that I finished very early on in this series, but I also did have I was also very close at the start of the series, Dagonoth Kings. With the Dagonoth Kings, I had 4,684 kill count at the start, and I still needed a few pets, but I needed some rings as well in order to make my upgraded rings. I now have 4,987 kill count, all 3 pets, and every item that I need from the Dagonoth Kings, so I will never ever be going back. Up next, we have another boss that I have not touched. 6 months ago, I had 666 General Grottor kills, and I still have 666 General Grottor kills, so there has been absolutely 0 change on this log. And yet again, we have another boss that I have not touched, to the Giant Mole. Again, I was at 16 normal KC and 36 hard mode KC, and I'm still at 16 normal and 36 hard mode, so no change on the log either. Looks like we have a string of bosses that I haven't touched going on here, next up being Gregorovic. With Greg, I'm still at 124 normal KC with just the single glaive. I've gotten fairly lucky on shadow components from scavenging, so I haven't really had a need to go back over here yet. And we have another boss that I really haven't touched-ish. I have Hurakan. Now, I said in episode 0 that with that 21 KC of Hurakan that I had, most of it doesn't suck, and it's still true on this episode as well. I've not gone back to the fight kiln. But I am at 49 KC, again, mostly done through Zuck. Looks like we got one that I did actually touch, but not really. Hellweir. With Hellweir, I was at 518 KC with most of the log done minus the pet. But now I'm at 519 KC, so I've done 1 kill for some reason, which I do not know why. But I do have an additional Hellweir kill, still looking for that pet. Similarly to Hellweir, the Calphite King was at 46 KC and is now just at 56. Now I didn't do any additional actual Calphite King kills. I remember exactly where these 10 kills came from. These 10 kills came from our clan playing a fun little game where we all just run in with melee and just stun the shit out of Calphite King and hope that somebody dies. So in that time, we did get an additional 10 kills. Unfortunately, no drops. And up next, we got another one that I haven't really touched, the Calphite Queen. Except this one hasn't been touched at all, period. I was at 247 kills 6 months ago, and I'm still at 247 kills. Next up, we got a boss that I'm actually kind of surprised that I haven't done, given that care pack has been so important to me in my journey of trying to improve at PVM. I was at 546 normal kills, 423 hard mode kills, and I'm still at those numbers. I do want to get back there, and I do also want to get the golden care pack pet, so I do have a whole lot of care pack that I have to do. We should almost be done with the stuff that I haven't touched here, but next up we have Krill at 1001 KC, still at 1001 KC. I did not change my log here, let me quickly change that, but no change. I'm still looking for the pet, Steam Battle Staff, and the spear, And as I said in episode 0, my plan is just go to hard mode and try to get the pet. And if I don't get the pet, when I get the pet, if I don't get those drops yet, then I'll go back to normal mode. Hey look, a boss we have touched, but not really again. And that is the KBD. Initially 6 months ago, I was at 140 KBD kills, and I'm now at 169. Those 29 kills, I think, all came from the Wilderness Flash events, and I have way more boots and gloves than I had before. Almost doubled my visages, obviously, as well, but again, visages come from a whole lot of stuff, so none of that was from the KBD, obviously. I said in episode 0, and I'll say it again, no Kriara content. And the reason there's no Kriara stuff, because I had that log finished prior to even starting at 862 normal mode and 459 hard mode. I did take another crack at some more legions trying to finish that second crossbow. As 6 months ago, I was at 419 KC and I am now at 506. Obviously, I didn't try too hard. I did get one additional signet, getting the second blue one, so I'm still looking for the black and the orange and all the pets. I said this in episode 0 and I'll say it again, I despise the key mechanic in this game, especially for the Magister. I was at 404 and still am at 404, still looking for the gloves and the pet, but I don't think I'm going to go back for quite some time until I really grind out a whole lot of keys, because I don't like the key mechanic. So back to Slayer we have to go. Looking at ED1, we're at the same spot we were 6 months ago with 2 group kills and 6 ancient scales. That has not changed. I haven't gone back to ED1, and those ancient scales aren't even from ED1. I think they're all actually from the matriarchs. Hey look, we have a boss we made progress on, Nex. Initially at Nex I had 8 total KC with 2 drops, both of them coming from the darts, but I did do a whole lot of Nex after I got my ECB and I got a Grico. I am now at 501 kills from 8, and a good chunk of the log completed, 16 out of 21. Still looking for that Torva plate body, Virtus legs, Virtus gloves, I'm sorry, not Virtus, Pernix legs, Pernix gloves, and a Virtus wand, and the pet. If you don't remember, earlier on in the series, we did actually touch on a whole lot of AOD. At AOD, I had 25 kills, I am now at 180. Now, it doesn't mean I did a whole lot in all honesty, because there's way more that I'll have to do, given how rare the weapons are. I do, fortunately, have a chest though, so all I really need are the codices and the weapons. Still expecting several thousand kills, however. Back to our old ways with bosses that we haven't touched. QBD. QBD, I was at 55 kills, still at 55 kills, missing 4 total drops. I'll eventually go back, but honestly, I really don't feel like it right now. Next up, we have a boss that I'm thoroughly happy to have done, and that is Raksha. We started off Raksha with 271 solos and 245 duos. I am now at 440 solos and 364 duos, with a fairly lucky log in terms of the variety of my drops, but not very lucky in terms of numbers of drops. I have finished the log on Grico, so I'm not planning on going back anytime soon. And even though I hate the boss, I am actually kind of looking forward to going back a little bit just to practice my melee rotations, because melee Raksha actually looks like a ton of fun. Next up, we have something that I touched on a little bit for Slayer texts, and that is the Rex Matriarchs. 6 months ago, I had 1,213 KC, and now I'm at 1,300 flat. I didn't really get any more log progress. I did, however, get a few more hearts, so there's that. What I'm doing is I'm camping the melee one, Rathus, with an AFK strategy just to boost my KC, and then I'll go on to the other ones whenever I feel like it. Next up, we got our dear friend Solak. Now, if you remember from episode 0, I had 32 Solak kills with 60-some pages. Now, with those Solak kills, that means Solak actually killed me more than I killed him, because I never got a cluster. Now, in the last 6 months, I did add a Grim to our log, as well as gaining up to 71 total KC. So I didn't do a whole lot of Solak, but I did touch on it a little bit. I will say that Grim has been the happiest drop that I've gotten in the last 6 months, because it's absolutely huge for everything that we do. Next up, we have one of my major future grinds in Telos. Now, I had 0 KC at Telos, and now I have 1. The only reason I did that 1 is just to get the Reaper Crew achievement. So we're going to be going to Telos very soon, because I really want that SGB. Back back to a boss that I haven't done in the Twin Furies. We were at 428 normal mode, we're still at 428 normal mode. I will say though, I will probably just do hard mode and melee just because you can break the hit cap there and it just looks like tons of fun. Something that I'm probably going to be doing very, very shortly. On to my luckiest boss in the game, in Zuck. I had 9 normal mode and 6 hard mode kills. I am now at 37 normal mode and 6 hard mode kills. And I did add the Scripture of Full. The Scripture of Full was absolutely huge and I was very excited when I got it. And we're at our final boss that we have not touched since starting the series, Vindicta. I had 525 normal mode and 102 hard mode, and I'm still at those same kill counts. I still do need one more pet, which I'll probably do in normal mode AFK. And now we have a boss that I touched a little bit in Virago. I haven't done any more normal mode kills. I was at 11, I'm still at 11, but I have done some hard mode, missing just one piece of the Omen set, being the legs. So I do have to do a hard mode kill on that week. And next up, we have the boss that I've made the most gains with lately, and that is Zamorak. I was at 53 solo and 29 group. I am now at 259 solos and 102 group kills, completing my entire bow and almost the entirety of the Vestment set and getting the pet. Kind of crazy to think that I might actually finish the Zami log on a Chaos Roar. I'm unironically kind of hoping that happens. And that's all we got for our boss kills and our boss logs. Next up, let's go take a look-see at our bank. So for the bank, we're not going to go through the entire bank. I'm really just going to focus on this tab, which is my gear tab. Talk about the upgrades that I made in the last 6 months. What we're going to do is I've got the screenshot of episode 0 standing right next to me. And I'm just going to talk about the differences in my current bank versus what we have had 6 months ago, I should say, rather. So looking at both, the thing that sticks out first to me is my Pernix Quiver. I do now have a Pernix Quiver. It's filled with Hydrix Bolts and Dyne Arrows. Obviously, I do have the Elder God arrows down here, but I'm not really using them right now because they're just a pain in the ass to make. The next upgrade that I did get is these rings. I initially only had the Reavers and the Seer's ring. I did upgrade my Stalker's ring, and I'm still working on the Champion's ring. I still just need to get the heart for that. There's no real change in my range gear. It's about, as I did change the perks around just a little bit, but I didn't really talk about the perks in the last episode, so in episode 0, so I'm not really going to focus on that here. What else is new? Oh, the Bow of the Last Guardian. I did get that a couple weeks ago, which was super duper exciting. What else is new here? I'm still running the tier 80 power mage gear. Unfortunately, I haven't done enough. Virago, I do have all the energies and the essences that I need in order to get the tier 92. I just need the tectonic energy. My mage gear really hasn't changed outside of dyeing my staff. This is now an Aurora dyed Fractured Staff of Armadillo. For my melee gear, we did upgrade from our regular base masterwork to nearly full sets of vestments. I'm still looking for those legs, but I did again change the perks around on the legs a little bit here. And we changed our offhand. We now have the augmented Dark Ice Sliver. I did also upgrade my masterwork Spear of Annihilation. Well, I didn't actually have a Spear of Annihilation before. I just had the tip, and I turned that into a masterwork spear. Looking at my mage gear, we did upgrade our tank setup quite a bit, from going from full Singers into nearly full Crypt Bloom minus the top, so hopefully that'll happen soon enough. And we are using our Inquisitors. We also did get way more EOFs. Initially, I only had this green one, this ornamented purple one, this blue one, and I think that was actually it. No, I did also have the orange one, which was my Stadius Warhammer. So now those are still the same, being Dark Bow, ABS. The blue one I changed between my Z staff or G staff depending on what I'm doing. Right now it's a Z staff. I did get another EOF here with this red one that's ornamented, being my Claws EOF. And I did stick my EZK into here, making an EZK EOF. I also do have a spare one that I changed for through different things. Right now it's set to a D2H, which I use for Wilderness Flash events. And I have my purple ECB amulet. So I also did get an upgrade there. Then I upgraded it again. What else is different here? We have a Rot Shield, two Rot Shields actually, both perked out the same way with turtling and ultimatums. And I did make a magic shield here as well for Sorcerer, but that was from Dungeoneering. I do still have a set of Sea Singer, which I use for Slayer or AFK Wave for Zuck, and two offhand Chaotics, one with Caraming because I did get Gricko, and one without Caraming. What else is new in here? I don't really see too much else actually. We did knock out a nearly full set of the God books, actually the entire set of the books that I'll use for PVM, as well as unlocking a few more Scrimshaws, and not that I'm really going to be using those. I did get a whole lot of Reaper Ornament kits. If you don't remember one of my episodes, I did get a ton of those on a clue opening. And outside of that, nothing else looks too different. Outside of actually having arrows. Yeah, I don't think anything else is very different. Obviously, I still do have an extra Eldritch piece, which I'm going to make into it, and then I'm going to be making another pouch very soon as well. And finally, I want to talk a little bit about the main concept of this series, which is my PVM progression. Now, when I started, I was on regular Revo where I just revoed out my basics. Sometimes I would activate them, and I made slow step-by-step progress in terms of that. I've actually moved completely off Revo and do almost all my bossing on full manual. I've also changed up my keybinds quite a bit to make it a little bit easier to do a lot of my switches on implementing hybrid. I hope you guys have enjoyed the series so far. I'm looking forward for another 6 months of consistent progression in terms of PVM and getting my goal of Golden Reaper. If you haven't, be sure to like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, and as always, I'll see you guys very soon and have a wonderful day.